Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday morning. I hope everybody's waking up and feeling wonderful and happy and sane. And if not, let's pray that whatever is not right with us this morning, that we leave it in God's hands and allow Him to work on it as we go through this day and He guides our footsteps, our hands, our minds, and our mouths. In Jesus' most holy and precious name, amen. I woke up with a visceral type feeling, meaning I woke up relating to a deep inward feeling, and it wasn't, something intellectual like with my mind. And I say that because I was going to get up early so I could start work early, but I was just tired because I had a late night. Me and my sleep, I've talked to you guys about this before, about me and my insomnia. But I had turned my TV on and I was just laying there. Sorry, I got that morning voice. But I was laying there contemplating getting up, and I clicked on something on YouTube. I really couldn't see what it was. I mean, I could kind of see the picture. I couldn't really tell what it was. I do wear glasses for a reason. And I definitely could not read it from where my bed is from the TV. Sorry, a little jittery hands this morning. So I clicked into it. And it was I forgot what it was, but whatever it was, I watched it. It was a news thing. And then, you know how if you watch one thing on YouTube, it'll roll into something else. Well, the next thing it rolled into was the first night of the Republican convention. And the thing that got me, they were introducing former President Trump because he came in with his ear bandaged up and all that. But the song they were playing is what got me. It had nothing to do with all that, and I'm sure you all know it. I can't play it because I know darn well they would hit me for a strike for using this song. But it was, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Na 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 na. There's something there in life for me. I'll probably stand up. Dun, dun, dun. Na 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 na. I think there's no greater land than the USA. One would think, I used to know all the words. Oh, that's so beautiful, that bridge. I used to know all the words, and that's because, I know I've started my stories about being in the war and hadn't finished because I get on one thing and forget that I started something else. Age, people, age. But when I was in Saudi, we didn't have, Netflix and all this stuff like that. We had one station, and it was, and most times, even during wartime, they have one station, and it's the military. Like in Germany, I remember as a kid, we had the military TV. On the radio, you have the military station. So that is a song that they played over and over and over. I know I must have heard that song when I worked 12-hour shift, probably one time at least every hour. So I knew the words. But this morning, it made me cry. And I was like, let me get up out of this bed and go ahead and start my day. And I was talking to my sister about this yesterday. And the benefit and the privilege of being in the military, if you're lucky, is to be able to travel and go and visit many different countries. And by me being in the Air Force and the job I had, I might be stationed at one place, but 6 months out of the year, I was traveling to other countries due to training of our Air Force jets. And they had to have ground support. And so that afforded me the ability to be able to go and see how other people lived, try the food, see the sights, and get to know the people if I was lucky. So I can honestly say, as a black woman, that I am proud to be in the USA, and some people would dispute that with me. But we've all have different experiences. And one thing I can say is that people of color, depending on what color, definitely blacks, get treated poorly in most countries. That's just an honest fact. And even though we have our faults here in the United States, and they call us a melting pot, but a lot of times we're like oil and vinegar, this is still the best country for us to live in. We have freedoms. We are afforded things that we're not in other countries, and that's for all races. And if you're a female, most definitely, we are very privileged to have the rights and be able to do the things that we want to do. Now, of course, you can in Europe, and all this is depending on what it is you're doing and who you are in what country, okay? I can only say this from my perspective. The platform that I have is for all races, for all women, all men. I don't ever want that to be twisted, because I have been afforded the ability to be around all. I was raised a military child, and then I went into the military. There's never been a time in my life where, other than, and this is a story in itself, a small segment, it's probably about a year, where I really lived in segregation. But the rest of my life has always been around any and everybody. And I like that. I like that I had the ability to be able to live and have Hawaiian neighbors, or, Panamanian friends across the streets, and Caucasians next door, and African Americans at the end of the building, and Japanese and Korean, in the next building. I like that. I like the fact that I was able to grow up that way. And I tried very hard to be able to live in areas so that my son could afford the same experiences when it came to that, because I wanted him to be able to not discriminate against people because of their race, but because you just didn't like them because of who they are as a human being. And that's how I really try to look at things. And we can all not hit the mark, okay? All of us. We can get in conversations and talk about one race compared to the other. But what I felt this morning was the fact that we are lucky to live in this country, all of us. And no one can say it is just their country, because, to be honest, when it was claimed to be discovered, there were people already living here. So anybody that was not already here was brought here, shipped in. Okay? They weren't flown in, they were shipped in. And so we all come from someplace else and came here to this country. So it doesn't belong to one person or two people. It belongs to all of us. And the thing that we're going to really have to learn is that it takes all of us to make it right, and it can take all of us to make it wrong. Being in the military in the United States is a very small select few. I think I've mentioned this before. Other countries require their young people to do at least 2 to 3 years in the military. just in case if they need them, you've already been trained. It's still a voluntary service for us in the United States. That in itself is a privilege. And then it's still even a small select few of us that volunteer to do that. Because what you're saying is that I put my life on the line for each and every American that's in the United States. We went to war, and I was in the foxhole with men and being the only female. I had men of all races in that foxhole with me. And we were one unit. And we were there to protect everybody else that was not there. And we could not sit in that foxhole and say, well, I'm only going to protect the people that look like me, or the people that think like me, or the gender that I am. No, we came to protect each and every person that was living in the United States. And that's how I would like for, I really wish that we all had the mindset that we could say that everything we do when we think about it, outside of our families and things, we're doing it in the context of everybody else around me. I know that the things that I brought up yesterday can be very controversial and argumentative. Yes. But I was so proud that you all were able, those who took the chance and did make comments, were able to make comments, and I didn't see where it looked like anybody was stepping on anybody else's toes. Now, I do know that there was, because usually I have a lot more comments, I do know that there were a lot of people that watched what I put out and wanted to make comments, but they felt like they were going to be judged or disliked, or somebody was going to jump down their throat. That was not the purpose for me putting that out there. Like I said, I love to hear what other people think. I don't have to agree with you. I think part of the problem in the United States is that we don't know how to deal with conflict. We don't know how to deal with each other when we don't agree with each other. We don't know how to be able to say something and then somebody has a response that we don't particularly care for, but that's okay because we put something out there ourselves. You know, we don't really know how to have dialogue about controversial subjects, topics. But I was very proud of the people in the chat. We're not going to agree on these things that I put out there yesterday. We're just not. Because we're all looking at it from the vein of where we came from and who we are at this present moment. And that's okay. We're not all going to believe in the same type of politics, religion, gender, discrimination, racist. I mean, there's so many topics that we cannot agree on. But regardless if we agree on them or not, we're all here in this country together. And we are the ones that either make it a better country or make it worse than it already is now. I hope today, as you go through your day, you think about some of the things that I do put on here, because I'm always wanting to be in a position that when, after you watch my videos, either you're laughing, it's funny, it made your day brighter, or it made you think. When was the last time you really looked at where you lived and understood where you are, and you understood that you were privileged to the point that it made you cry? That's how I felt this morning. I know what it's like to watch people in other countries that did not have the ability to be able to be afforded the opportunities that I personally had to become a better person, to be able to speak their mind and not worry about getting killed, to be able to have children the way they want to be able to be their authentic selves without being hung by their toes, being able to have the ability to argue with their neighbor if they wanted to. So this morning, as you go through your day, I want you to think about how privileged you are, regardless of what state you're in, regardless of what's going on in your life. regardless of health issues and all of that, you're still privileged to be who you are and to be where you are. Because there's always someone who is doing not just a little bit worse, a whole lot worse. And they are not afforded what you do have. I hope you guys have a great morning. I'm going to get off of here and get to doing what I need to do. I'm an hour behind as it is. But I am proud to live in the USA.